According to the data published by Euromonitor, Vietnam's GDP is growing at an average of 6% per year between 2011 and 2020. Particularly, the rate of F&B industry is about 10% per year, outperforming the general growth rate. Besides, based on the market surveys of consumer demand of Vietnamese cuisine by Gojek in collaboration with Conta, showed that more than 60% of people have a habit of eating out at restaurants. Vietnamese often prefer quick meals or convenient breakfasts on the way to go instead of having them at home. The same goes for lunch and dinner. Living in Vietnam for over 16 years with an understanding of the cultural factors and economy here, our guest of Sharing Vietnam today has created many different restaurant concepts in the heart of Saigon. From the concept of Mediterranean Sea, French, to traditional Vietnamese cuisine, he has contributed to the development and cross-cultural cuisine in the F&B industry in Vietnam.
Welcome to Sharing Vietnam on VTC10 at Việt channel today. Today, we would love to introduce to you Mr. Albin Deforges, co-founder of many successful F&B startups in Vietnam. Welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for welcoming me, and happy to be with you today.
The first question is, what reason that brought you to Vietnam and work here?
I've come to Vietnam 16 years ago and actually came here for work. I originally came in Vietnam to work in a wine distribution company. Before that, I studied hotel management, and I was in other countries. I've been in England, in the US, in the Caribbean, in Canada. And when I was in Canada, I wanted to look for something different. I've never been to Asia, so I looked for a job in Asia, and I had an offer for a company that was selling wine to restaurant, hotels, and in retail as well. So that's my original job in Vietnam 16 years ago. So that was the original reason I came to Vietnam. And I did that job for about a year. And after that, I liked it, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay. But it then opportunities that make me stay in Vietnam. And after that, again, wanted to see what was next. And again, opportunity. I started my first business about 10 years ago. So I opened my first restaurant bar, which was a mix of French, Japanese influence for restaurant bar. And following that, I started to do multiple restaurants around the city. So I've done about 12 restaurants, from French restaurant to American barbecue style, Quan Ut Ut, maybe you've heard about.
Yes.
Some beer places called Beer Craft. I've done some French restaurant called Cocotte. So we have 3 French restaurants. I've done some Vietnamese restaurant called Bet Me In. I've done a seafood place called Fresh Catch. And yeah, a couple of other things around. So.
That's a lot. Okay, but I think that behind every idea is an interesting story. Is that right? So can you share with me any interesting story behind your idea?
Sure. I think each ideas come with situation and observing as well what's missing on the market. Because for me, when I arrived in Vietnam 16 years ago now, I think the market was fairly small in terms of restaurants. There was not many restaurants. I mean, quite a lot of Vietnamese restaurants, of course. Yes. But in terms of a foreign concept, it was quite limited. The other side as well was that a lot of the foreign restaurants were limited for expat, for foreign people. And I think when, for example, we started to do Quan Ut Ut, we realized that Vietnamese were eager to try something different and to try not some foreign concept. And that's how Quan Ut Ut started, for example, is that we wanted to approach the Vietnamese market with a foreign concept, but we wanted to find something that was not intimidating for them. So that's how we approach the concept of doing something that's a bit, I'll say, a mix between Quan Nhao and a barbecue restaurant. So that was the approach of it. How we can talk to Vietnamese, that they understand the product, that's not completely foreign to them. So that's as well how the name came, how the concept of the design came, and how we developed that concept.
So among all of your projects, there is one which is named Bếp Mẹ In, and it has a traditional Vietnamese style.
Yes.
So why it has that style?
Okay, this approach, the concept came out on a location we found. I was always been looking as well for a new location to develop new concept.
Yes.
And an agent approached us and told us they found something interesting house near Ben Thanh Market.
Yes.
And it's in a small alley just on Le Tan Ton, next to Ben Thanh Market. And we found that when I went to visit with actually my wife at that time, that there's such a nice, interesting vibe when you walk in that alley, because it feels that you set back in time a little bit compared to the very busy life of Le Tan Ton and the market. And so when we walked in that alley and I saw the building, I thought, hey, it's interesting vibe. So what could work here? And to be very honest, we had no idea at that time that we wanted to do a Vietnamese restaurant. It's just because of the area, because of the alley in itself, that we said, hey, Ben Thanh, 4 or 5 years ago, there was no Vietnamese restaurant, I'll say, in a larger scale for tourists. There was a lot of small eatery for local, then there's inside the market, but there was not also a proper restaurant in itself with mixed food. And so that's how it came up, is we said, okay, in the areas there's not many restaurants that could supply the tourists, because Ben Thanh being very touristy, and anything that would be a little bit different. So based on the location, we said, hey, what can we do? And so after, it's about process of brainstorming what could fit and what style of food. And again, I think a lot of touristy place in the city kind of serves the same style of food and similar style of decor and things. So we said, okay, how can we be different? What can we do, something that will attract people? So that's how Bếp Mẹ In came in the development.
Do many foreigners understand the name of your restaurant?
Probably not. I'll say 95% do not understand. They understand more the Bếp Mẹ, one we explain, because it's easy,
like
mother's food, exactly, and with the logo and how we translate it as well. But first, it's something from the north more than the south.
Yes.
And so the idea was that is to give, for us in the concept, is to give as well an influence of, we're not a city restaurant, we're trying to give something more from the countryside.
Oh,
and
yes.
The inn itself as well is, my wife is from the north, so there's a reason.
She's
as well.
Vietnamese?
She's Vietnamese.
Oh,
yes.
that's why.
That's why. So that's how the name in itself came out.
In every different restaurant concept, Albin tries to develop harmoniously and intercrossing cultures. Whether it is Vietnamese restaurants or foreign ones, he can bring Vietnamese cultural elements into the food by some means or other. For example, Fresh Catch Vietnam restaurant has culinary stories of Italy, France, Spain, and Greece, but it is located in a villa with an ancient style of Saigon. Another one is Bếp Mẹ In. A restaurant serves traditional Vietnamese dishes, but a decorated food and space as rural areas in northern Vietnam.
This one is the most Vietnamese concept he has done, and I know he's doing it in cooperation with his wife. I know he's trying to tease Vietnamese people to come here. And I think it will be successful. I think he's doing a good job. The food is simple, but with a good quality ingredients. So I don't see any reason why it should not be successful.
Thì đối với người Việt Nam mình thì dường như là nó quá quen thuộc rồi. Nhưng mà đối với lại một người nước ngoài thì mọi cái điểm nhấn ở trong thiết kế hoặc là những cái chi tiết đều tạo sự thú vị với họ. và họ tò mò hơn người Việt Nam mình rất là nhiều. Thật ra thì khi mà làm việc tại thành phố thì mình ăn những buổi ăn rất là nhanh gọn và hối thúc, nhưng mà khi mà đến với Mẹ Yến thì mình có thể tận hưởng được một cái hương vị mà nó đúng theo như cái tên gọi ấy. Bếp Mẹ Yến là nó mang cho mình một cảm giác như là bếp mẹ, cảm giác như mình đang ăn một bữa ăn ở quê nhà vậy.
So I think for any entrepreneur, you must have good ideas. So what is the key, the secret for you to have good ideas?
I'm not sure I want to share my secret. No, I'm joking. No, I think it's important first part is to understand the market, because you can see in the past years, I think there's quite a lot of big companies that come from overseas with existing concept from Japan, from Korea, other places. And they think that it would be easy to open here and it will work. We could see it even at McDonald's, for example, where they maybe saw that they could open and develop very fast. But Vietnamese market is different from any other country. And so it's important to understand what Vietnamese are interested in and, how you can scale it, how you can develop it. I think on that level, how to develop concept is to really understand the local market, what people are interested, what does not exist, and what fits with the Vietnamese market. So after, based on that, is brainstorming and working on ideas and do a lot of tasting.
I know that many people call you the concept king of Saigon, but I think even if you were a king, you must face with a lot of difficulties. So can you share with me about the difficulties?
Okay, so first of all, king of concept, there's one article that wanted to be flattering for me, but I think many people have many concepts and done that, so I don't consider myself the king. Thank you for that. No, I think difficulty, yes, we all face difficulties, and difficulty I could have, I think, with the years as well evolved. Meaning the first concept was to understand how business can be developed in Vietnam, how you can manage running with authorities. The fact as well that when I opened my first restaurant 10 years ago, you could not have a company under your name as a foreigner, so you had to have a Vietnamese partner. But overall, I think is to understand what can you do in general, which is officially what can you do, and then still fit with the development of your business. And so it's the laws in Vietnam as well fairly broad, so it's not always easy to follow exactly what's going on. So it's to understand that. But overall, I think any difficulties, there's a way to come over it. So it's to find ways. How can you go to the next step and see step by step how you can conquer those difficulties and continue to get your business running. That's the most important. How to satisfy, for me, is how to satisfy our customer, how to make them happy. And that's how we...
Yeah, so is it easier for you once you get used to the things here in Vietnam?
Of course. I think that's very important when, as I mentioned earlier, if you come and develop a new business, even outside F&B industry, you need to understand the local culture. You need to understand how things run in Vietnam. And it's not because you're very successful somewhere else and you have a lot of financial to develop a concept that it will work here. I mentioned earlier about McDonald's, but there's other big companies that come and they think, okay, we're very successful everywhere, let's come here, it would be easy. Yes. No, because it's
not true.
You need to understand the local culture. It's very important. I think which is good. It's interesting as well for people like us because Vietnamese has strong culture, strong personalities in general. So you need to adapt yourself to the market and become part of Vietnam.
Thank you for your sharing today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Chin.
It's the end of our show. Thank you for watching and see you next time.